What up, what up, what up, YouTube? Once again, it is on. This your boy 2G here to break down the Raising Hell album, 1986 by Run DMC. Now Peter Piper pickled peppers, but Run Rock rhymes. Humpty Dumpty fell down. That's his hard times. Jappy Nimble was nimble and he was quick, but Jam Master cut faster jacks on Jay's dick. Haha, y'all don't remember that. Well, that was Peter Piper by Run DMC, slamming track off the album. Wonder why they never had a video for that. I know it was one of the first singles off the album. They just never had a video. But anyway, yeah, Raising Hell. It was done in 1986. It was the first album on CD, compact disc. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, what is this? What is a CD?" And that was back when CD cases came in long boxes with the CD case inside the box. It used to be in a long rectangular box. And you open the box and the CD case would be inside that box. And this also was the first album to peak at #1 on the Billboard charts. First rap album to peak at #1 on the Billboard charts. And this was at the time people were still saying, oh, rap was a fad and it would never go past double platinum and all this stuff. And there's not enough fans to buy a multi-million-dollar album. I'm sorry, it's not enough fans. They didn't think it was enough fans for a rap album to sell past 2 or 3 million. Because, like I said, everybody thought it was just a fad. It will fade away, and it was only music for the ghettos in New York, and only people in New York can identify with this hip hop phenomenon and all this stuff, But Raising Hell came out and proved everybody wrong. When Raising Hell first dropped in the spring of 1986, it proved a lot of people wrong. Like I said, it was the first multi-platinum album. It ended up selling like 4 million units, and that was a lot back in 1986. I mean, this album was selling like hotcakes because King of Rock that went platinum in 1984, and people were saying, "Oh yeah, that's as far as they're gonna go. That's as far as it's going, platinum." But Raising Hell came out and went quadruple platinum. But anyway, this was their first time working on a full album from top to bottom with the legendary producer Rick Rubin. Because before Run DMC was working with Larry King of the Beat Smith. Larry King of the Beat Smith. If y'all don't know him, he was like the Dr. Dre of the '80s. He worked with Curtis Blow. He worked with Jimmy Spicer. He worked with Russell Simmons. They was partners. He also worked with Houdini, and he worked with a bunch of other acts too. He was a bass player, Larry King of the Beat Smith, and he compared People would ask Larry how does he work with Run DMC, the hardcore rap group, and Houdini, the guys that wore the silk and leather, laid back R&B type style of rap group. How does he distinguish the two? And he said Run DMC is like a Buick Deuce and a quarter, and he said Houdini was like a Cadillac. He was like, it's a certain way you drive each one. And anyway, they uh they started working with Rick Rubin on this album, and Larry Smith, he went to work full time with Houdini, and because he was doing too much. Larry was doing too much, and he was in the middle of recording Houdini's Back in Black album. Because a lot of people don't know Houdini was the first rap group to have a platinum album, and then Run DMC with the King of Rock. But it was around the same time, so a lot of people think that the King of Rock went platinum first, but actually it was Houdini's album, their second album, Escape. That was the first platinum album. But anyway, back to Raising Hell. So Rick Rubin steps in to take over the production assignment, and Rick Rubin was versatile in producing. He saw the big picture. Run DMC had already made some rock-inspired songs with Larry Smith, like The King of Rock, There's None Higher, Rock Box, and all that. Can You Rock It Like This? And Rick Rubin was an avid rock and roll fan. You know, he was into heavy metal. You know, he was this white boy from Queens who just so happened to fall in love with rap music. You know, because the rock clubs Rick was playing in, you know, once the rock bands left at the end of the night, the hip hoppers would come in. And sometimes Rick could stay and just see what the hip hoppers had to offer. And he saw all this break dancing and all these DJs cutting up break records, and he was he was he was taken away. He was blown away by that. And he felt to himself he can do that. You know, that's how he got into hip hop. Staying late after one of those heavy metal shows and watching the hip hoppers come over and take over. Because hip hoppers will go all the way until the break of dawn. That's where they get that phrase, to the break of dawn. They'll come in after midnight and rock all the way to the break of dawn. And anyway, hip hop was Rick's fantasy, something that he had to fulfill. You know, he didn't even know what a producer was. He just knew that he could scratch a record and make break beats, you know, just as well as any other producer back then. And plus, he had the money to afford all this stuff because, you know, he was into the heavy metal punk rock scene or whatever, and he was going to NYU, where he started Def Jam out of his dorm room. You know, he had a bunch of equipment, big ass speakers, and all this stuff, and all that. DJs will come in. DJs like Jazzy Jeff will come in and scratch while he'll be working with these drum machines. He was working with the Linn drum. He had a Roland, a Linn drum, a DMX. He had all these different types of drum machines, a SP12, and all these other little gadgets that he had hooked up to these drum machines to make different sounds and stuff. And so Rick was eager to work with Run DMC because he had a desire to mesh rap and rock and roll. You know, he called it rap and roll. And one of the slogans for Def Jam was our artists rap because they can't sing. You know, because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the reason why rappers rap because they can't sing." You know, and if you look up in the dictionary, rap means noise. You know, like a knocking noise, and it also means to talk. The second definition is to talk. You know, there's two definitions: to make noise, to talk. That's why back in the days, a lot of older cats were saying, "Oh, that rap mess ain't nothing but talking. Oh, it's a bunch of noise." But the hip hop generation made a third definition for it, and it was an element of hip hop. You know. But anyway, like I said, Rick Rubin, he was eager to get in the studio with Run DMC because he had a vision. He knew how to get them constant play on MTV. You know, he knew a way to get them in heavy rotation, and that way was to have them rapping over some rock and roll riff guitars or whatever. And that's what they ended up doing. Now, the first track, Peter Piper, on the album, that was inspired by UTFO's song Fairy Tale Lover. They had a song on their album called Fairy Tale Lover. And they was talking about Alice in Wonderland, Jack and Jill holding hands. And that inspired Run to write Peter Piper. It took him 30 years to confess. He confessed on the UTFO's Greatest Hits album. He confessed. He's talking and he confessed. He said that's where he got the inspiration to write Peter Piper. He never told him until 30 years later. Damn near 30 years. But you know, back then hip hoppers didn't confess to anything, you know. You know, if it wasn't a direct bite, they're not gonna tell you they wasn't gonna tell you that they were inspired by it. You know, but nowadays on YouTube and stuff, everybody's confessing and showing you their secrets, but you'll never see Africa Bambaataa confessing to nothing. I'm sorry, Africa Bambaataa, all his secrets to this day, a lot of people don't know the records he was spinning or where they came from. You know, to this day, a lot of people don't even know. He'll take it to his grave. You won't see Africa Bambaataa on YouTube giving away his secrets. But anyway, the second album was It's Tricky. Now, It's Tricky. It's tricky to rock a rhyme. To rock a rhyme that's right on time. It's tricky. That was that was a sample. It was a sample that not Dr. Dre, Jam Master Jay was scratching throughout the entire song. It was a sample. Dun 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 dun. That was a guitar riff that he sampled, and Rick Rubin did the drums. That was a DMX drum machine, and Jam Master Jay was just scratching throughout the whole song. Jam Master Jay is one of the legendary producers, man. I mean, not legendary producers, but legendary DJs too. I mean, he worked with Onyx, he produced on Slick Rick's uh, album, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. But his DJing skills was incredible. But anyway, the third track, My Adidas, that was a Russell Simmons idea. You know, Russell Simmons was high when he came to Run DMC with the idea. He was like, "Yo, guys," his eyes was wide open. "Yo, since you guys are always wearing Adidas, why don't we write a song?" And they ended up writing a song, and it fit perfect because when you saw Run DMC, you saw those Adidas. Adidas and Run DMC. That also got them a deal with Adidas. You know, they had their own brand of Adidas. First rappers to have their own sneaker endorsement, sneaker deal. And they was at the Garden one time, and Run said the Garden was packed. He said, "Yo, I beg your pardon, but this is my motherfucking Garden." He was like, "Yo, if y'all got on a pair of Adidas, put your Adidas in the air." It was easy to take them off because everybody wore Adidas with no shoestrings. So everybody, the whole Madison Square Garden had their Adidas up in the air. And a representative from Adidas just so happened to be there. And when he saw all those stripes, those Adidas in the air, he was like, "Yo, we got to give these guys a deal." This Madison Square Garden, 1986. I mean, shoot, you see a whole arena full of Adidas in the air. Come on, man. That was smart for Adidas. That was a good move for them. So yeah, that got them a sneaker deal. And the fourth track was Walk This Way with Aerosmith. Now initially, Run DMC, they did not want anything to do with that song because the name of the record, Toys in the Attic, for years, cats was rapping off of that intro in the park. They was rapping off of that for years. Run and D wanted to just rap off of that drum beat, and add a guitar riff. That's how they wanted to do it. They wanted to do it like how they were doing it in the park. But Rick Rubin said, "Nah, we're gonna make the whole song over." And Run and D was like, "Make the whole song over? What do you mean? Say the lyrics back and forth?" Rick Rubin was like, "Yeah, Steven Tyler, the way he wrote it, you guys write it, but rap it." Run D was like, "Man, this is some hillbilly gibberish. This is some garbage, man. We don't even know what the hell he's saying." And Rick Rubin was like, "Yo, you're gonna write that song and you're gonna perform it. Hurry up. We got the studio time already booked. It shouldn't take that long. The song is already written. You just gotta put it in rap, get to learn it and put it into a rhyme." So they ended up doing it, and in between takes, Running DMC, they was cracking jokes. They was like, "Walk this way." The stinking bitch said, "Walk this way." The stinking crab said, "Talk," because they didn't want to do it. They was cracking jokes about the song, and they was getting a lot of words wrong because they didn't know what the hell the lead singer of Aerosmith was saying. They had to do it over, but they ain't know what the hell he was saying. Backseat lover on the hide neath cover. When I talk to my daddy, say what does that mean? You ain't seen nothing till you're down on the muffin, and it should be a change in way. It doesn't make any sense. But that's how they ended up recording it. And if you listen to the original track, it's a lot of words that just don't make no sense. You know, Run and D, they just did it to pacify Rick and Russell. But it almost didn't make the album. But Jam Master Jay was like, "Yo, man, this shit is fire, man. Yo, Jam Master Jay liked it." So Run and D, they was like, "Well, if Jay like it, yo, it must be some fire." So that was Jam Master Jay's. Um, he's responsible for that song making the album, and that turned out to be their biggest hit, one of the biggest hits of the '80s, and that introduced suburban white people to rap music all over the place, all over the world, because Run DMC became a household name. When white people saw Run DMC in that video Walk This Way with Aerosmith, they was like, "Man, this is the future." Run DMC became a household name. And to this day, Run, he doesn't understand how that song became the biggest hit because number one, their heart wasn't in it. They didn't want to do it. They did it anyway. But I'm sure Run understands now that that now that he's a preacher, God moves in a mysterious way, but for years he didn't understand. He once said he understood big things that happened to him. He said, but the biggest thing that ever happened to him, he never understood. He was talking about Walk This Way. And then the fifth song was Is It Live? Some hellified percussion done by Rick Rubin using different drum machines, different sounds, all interconnected in one song. And then you had the song Perfection. Perfection. That was a live. That was a track that they recorded with a live drummer, and it was on point. Now, my favorite song on the album was number 7, Hit It Run. When I heard that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Hit It Run, 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 run." He was Jam Master Jay was scratching off Rocket in the Pocket. Man, that blew my mind. And it really blew my mind in the fall of '86 when I saw Run DMC perform Hit It Run on Saturday Night Live. Man, if there's a way you can get that episode, I remember vividly. Malcolm Jamal Warner was hosting that episode of Saturday Night Live, and he introduced Run DMC. And man, they came out. They rocked the house. I mean, Run was beatboxing. D was just he was just spitting hard. I mean, when Run was beatboxing, it looked like he was about to inhale the microphone. I mean, he was spitting all over the place. I mean, it just blew me away. I'll never forget that. I saw it one time. I saw that episode one time and I never saw it again. But I still remember vividly of what they were doing on stage performing that song. And Jam Master Jay, he had his man standing behind him. I don't know who it was, but Jam Master Jay, he was stepping away, letting his man scratch, rocking in the pocket. Like he'll scratch. Then his man will come up from behind him and he'll sneak a scratch. Everything was on point. They were all in sync with each other. That blew my mind. Run beat by he was throwing off his hat, throwing it to DJ Hurricane, because Hurricane was always on stage with Run DMC back then. And Hurricane catch his hat, throw it back to him. Man, that shit was dope. But anyway, track 8 was Raising Hell. Kings from Queens, Raising Hell. That was another heavy metal rock inspired jam. That was fire. Everybody liked that song. You know, that's how they wanted to do Walk This Way. You know, they didn't want to, add all those other people's lyrics. You know, they wanted to do Rock This Way like Walk This Way like how they did Raising Hell. But anyway, Raising Hell turned out to be the one of one of like the second biggest song on the album. Then they had track number 9, You Be Illin'. You know, You Be Illin', that was a song they made on the Fresh Fest tour. You know, they were always coming up with concepts and techniques to record in the studio. And You Be Illin', they was just banging on tables while they were in the hotel. You be illin', because that was a catchphrase back then. Yo, you be illin'. You know, no, I don't be illin'. Shit, I be chillin'. And then they had Dumb Girl. Those 808s was crazy. Dumb Girl track number 10. Those 808s. Dum doom 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 doom. Rick Rubin, he just went in. I seen you jockin' JC because he got a Mercedes. What you know about his ladies and all his babies? You just want to ride and get inside and ride around town like you're Bonnie and Clyde. That was fire. Now, Son of Byford, track number 11. That was just a skit. It was like an acapella skit. DMC, he was singing one of the verses from Hit It Run, because Hit It Run, that was popular. So he made an acapella skit. One of the first skits on the album in rap history. That was Son of Byford. And then track number 12, Proud to Be Black. I'm proud to be black, y'all, and that's a fact, y'all. And if you try to take what's mine, I take it back, y'all. It's like that. That was a song about African Americans, and Harriet Tubman. She was born a slave. She was a tiny little lady, but she was brave. You know, they were giving props where props is due. They were letting everybody know I'm proud to be black. Yeah, we might be crossing over, but we ain't selling out. We proud to be black, and that's a fact. And if you try to take what's mine, I'll take it back. It's like that. Oh yeah. Now, when they finished recording this album, they immediately went on the Raising Hell tour in 1986. I think they were on the road for like 3 months, and they a lot of rap, a lot of tours back then. It wasn't that many tours back then, but a lot of shows that they did in big arenas. Fights would break out occasionally. It was a lot of gangs in 1986. I'll do the year in review of '86, and one of the cities they went to was Long Beach, and it was sold out. It was a sold out show, so they got there early to set up. And while they were walking backstage, right before the show had even started, they were going to do a sound check, and a dude was like, "Yo, what's gonna go down in here tonight?" And Running D was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, it is gonna go down in here." You know, they thought he was talking about, "Yeah, y'all gonna rock the house," because they was like, "Yeah, it is gonna go down in here." But the dude that said that, he wasn't meaning that they were gonna rock the house. He meant the house was gonna get rocked, and that's exactly what happened. Gang warfare broke out. People were getting stabbed, beat up. You know, it was a bloody night. And the name of the tour, Raising Hell, they blamed it all on Run DMC. And Run DMC, when all that shit broke out, Run DMC hadn't even took the stage yet. All hell broke loose when Houdini was on stage. Soon as I'm a Hoe came on, all hell broke loose. They just started fighting and tearing shit up, stabbing people. Motherfuckers was bleeding and shit. Kids was rushing the stage, not trying to rush the artist. They was trying to get away. Cause you had 50 gang members over here fighting 50 gang members. Then you had 100 other gang members fighting 100 other. It was crazy. You know, they almost got rap banned. You know, from Long Beach. And the next tour that the next time they came to Long Beach, they had extra security, but that made headline news, you know. Rap causes violence and all this stuff. And Run DMC are responsible for gang violence. Look at the name of the tour, Raising Hell. Kids Rose Hell. Thanks to Run DMC, 90 people are stabbed and beat up. Run DMC, they're responsible for gangs in America. They're a gang. They wear all black and all this stupid stuff. And same thing happened with Elvis Presley and the Beatles at those concerts. But, well, those were just some enraged teens, and they were excited by the rock and roll era and the music and stuff. Oh, there were some enraged teens. It wasn't Elvis Presley's fault. It wasn't the Beatles' fault. They were doing their job. Those teens didn't know how to act. But Run DMC, oh yeah, they wear all black. They're gang members. Look at how they dress. They're gang members. DMC is on the stage drinking a 40 ounce of Old English. Gang members drink that too. Oh, rappers can't drink that. If they do, they're affiliated with a gang. Old English 800 is a gang member's drink. Schoolie D said it was a B-boy's drink. And all this stupid stuff. But anyway, that's all I got to say about Run DMC Raising Hell. One love, YouTube.